Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. If you could just indicate through the chat facility or the raised hand facility that you can hear us. It's Bijs Kaczmarczyk here, who will be chairing today's national conference, Inspiring Learner Success. I hope everyone's keeping well. If you could just show of hands or use the chat facility to indicate that you can hear us. That's great, thank you. Brilliant, thanks very much, thank you. I think it's quite an exciting time in the sector as we're waiting for various things to happen. The bill going through Parliament that could affect obviously a lot of us working in the FE and skills sector. We've got some very interesting speakers for today as well. I'll introduce them in the course of the introduction at 10 o'clock once we know that everyone is signed in. And I know some of you will be coming for specific sections of the day. We're going to treat each one of the presentations separately, so there's a separate login for each one of them. I know some of you might be sharing this with colleagues in your organisation, so you might be coming to the first bit, someone else may be coming on later on. And of course, at the very end of the day, we've got the exciting raffle draw, which I know, again, those of you who are familiar with Ascentis national conferences, is a very fine hamper for the festive season. I've got my colleagues here, Francis, Jessica, Alex helping out in the course of today, as well as involving themselves in the final part of today's agenda, which is the curriculum planning and Ascentis qualifications, which I'll refer to in a few moments. Jess, it's almost 10 o'clock. So if we're ready to get going.
Yep.
I know we've got people joining us just in the course of this morning. So at 10 o'clock, brilliant, thank you very much. I've got a couple of people saying we're just logging in, thank you. Well, welcome to this morning and welcome to our national conference, Inspiring Learner Success. My name is Bijs Kaczmarczyk of eMemoir, and I'll be helping to chair this today's activities, as well as making a presentation. In the course of today, the program that we're going to be looking at, if you've not already had a chance to look at it, we'll have an introduction from the group CEO of Ascentis, Phil Wilkinson, in a few moments. Unfortunately, he can't attend to be present here today, but it's a recording of his input. I will then briefly talk about the nature of today and who's going to be presenting to you today, as well as obviously any issues or any questions. Please raise them with myself, and I'll make sure we try our best to answer any questions or queries you've got. If you look at the program for today, after Phil's welcome and introduction, there'll be a short break, and then at 10:30 I'll be coming on to give you an update on the funding of skills, implications of the budget and the spending review for the FE and skills sector. So whether you're working in a college, local authority, independent training provider, or if you're from Ascentis itself, then hopefully that will answer some of the questions you might have about what's happening in terms of things like the National Skills Fund, what's happening in terms of the how did the spending review impact on the post-16 sector. There'll then be a short break, and then at 12 o'clock we'll be joined by Danny Crates, Paralympic athlete and TV presenter, and he'll be looking at No Hurdle is Impossible to Overcome. That's about motivating, first of all, ourselves, motivating our lecturing colleagues, our tutoring colleagues, and of course, how to get the very best out of our learners whatever context they're learning in. And that'll be at 12 o'clock. There'll be then a break for lunch. And at 2 o'clock, we'll be joined by Shakira Martin, who's Head of Student Experience at the Rose Bruford College. Many of you will know her as the former NUS president, and she'll be looking at creating student success and beyond. And again, really keen to answer any questions or queries you've got about how best to support our individual students and learners, whatever context it be, whether it be 16 to 18 in classrooms, apprentices, or adults in whatever context you're actually helping to develop adults. There'll be a short break, and then at 3 o'clock, my colleagues from Ascentis will be joining us to look at curriculum planning and Ascentis qualifications, and that will be an update on what's happening in terms of qualifications, any insights and guidance in terms of how you might be planning your curriculum for the remainder of this year and obviously for the next academic year. And then at 3:45, there'll be a plenary. We'll just draw everything together. There'll be the important raffle draw, and we'll be finishing at about 4 o'clock. So that's the nature of the agenda for today. Again, if you're coming in and out, remember that each one of these will be a separate activity. So you need to log in for whatever sessions you're actually attending, or if one of your colleagues is attending it. And of course, we allow plenty of breaks in between. Without further ado then, if there are no other issues or questions you raise. Oh, by the way, just from a question that's already been raised, you will get copies of the recordings of every one of the inputs. So every session, there'll be a recording which will be available to you after today. So don't worry if you're having to keep notes or whatever, that you always get a copy of whatever the presentations are covering. Jessica, if that's okay, then let's now move over to Phil Wilkinson, the Group CEO, and his welcome and introduction.
Well, good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome from me to the Ascentis National Conference 2021, Inspiring Learner Success. Good to see you all again. I actually want to start off today by expressing my sincere well done and thanks to you all. Really a huge congratulations to all of those centres who have worked so hard throughout the pandemic to support their learners to achieve their goals and lifelong aspirations. At Ascentis, we really do recognise and are very grateful for your great efforts in that respect. So many congratulations. I always find it useful when I'm at a conference to know who's there on the day. So just for your information, I can tell you that we have approximately 200 delegates joining us online today. 80% or so of the delegates are our existing customers, and 20% of the delegates are not yet our customers, but who knows, perhaps they will be by the end of today. It's interesting also for me to always observe the different titles of the people who come along to our conferences. So today we've got deputy principals, various types of managers, faculty heads, ESOL coordinators, heads of apprenticeships, commercial directors, you name it, people are here today. And it is really good actually to see people here from a very wide variety of backgrounds. A little bit about Ascentis then itself and what we're doing. Obviously, as the CEO of Ascentis, I'd like to talk all day if I could about Ascentis, but just a bit of an update for you. So the first point I do want to emphasize is that Ascentis is a charity, an educational charity. That is important because it's the fact that we're a charity that drives everything that we do. Our aim absolutely is to transform people's lives through the power of education. That's what we do. That's what we're all about, and we're proud of it. Geographically, we are based in Lancaster in the northwest, not too far from the wonderful Lake District, so a wonderful place to be. But of course, in terms of what we do, geography is quite unimportant. We work across the UK and increasingly overseas. Interestingly, though, seeing as we are based in Lancaster, it is useful to note that our single largest geographical region is actually the capital. It's London. We have a lot of activity, a lot of centres in London, and that's good. We don't try to do everything as a charity, as an awarding body. Instead, we really prefer to choose those areas that we are particularly good at, particularly interested at, and then we aim to be experts in those specific targeted areas. So what are they then? Well, as an awarding organisation, in terms of our qualification offer, we are now very, very much a specialist awarding organisation for example, English for speakers of other languages, ESOL. And it may possibly surprise you to know that we are actually the #1 awarding organisation for ESOL in the UK. We are the biggest ESOL awarding organisation out there. It's a huge part of what we do. Similarly, our work as an access validating agency for access to HE diplomas, that's also a huge part of what we do. And again, we're actually the #1 access validating agency for access to HE diplomas in the UK. Also, English and maths qualifications are important to us, as indeed are progression and employability qualifications. And of course, now we have the new essential digital skills qualifications. And I think clearly that's going to be a very big part of what we do moving forward, because there's such a significant need in that respect. And then another area that we do an awful lot of activity in is in respect of what we call our short online qualifications, our popular SOQs. And we have these in over 20 areas, including, for example, a level 1 award in mental health and well-being, which of course is very popular at the moment, it's very important, and our level 1 award in equality and diversity. I'd just like to go back to our ESOL provision though for a moment, because it is important to recognise that ESOL really is a huge part of what we do. And we've grown very, very significantly, really very quickly in terms of our ESOL qualification. So if we go back to the 2014-15 year, in that year we registered just over 10,000 registrations on our ESOL qualifications. And that has increased significantly and rapidly to the point where now every year we're registering between 55,000 and 60,000 registrations, and it's growing all the time. It's continuing to grow. So that's great. We think ESOL is incredibly important, and we are absolutely committed to it. If you actually look at where that ESOL is, you'll find that a lot of it actually is in London. So if you go to the capital, you'll there find that virtually all of the colleges are using Ascentis ESOL qualifications, and that's great. But of course, one of the things we do want to achieve is to attract more centres outside of London to use our wonderful world-beating ESOL qualifications, because they really are. Ascentis is of course therefore an awarding organisation, and being an awarding organisation is an incredibly important part of what we do. But it's not the only thing that we do. We are more widely an education charity. And one of the other things that we do now is to provide specialist intervention software to schools to help their children with dyslexia and dyscalculia. And we provide this software through our subsidiary company, which is International Dyslexia Learning Solutions, IDLS. And again, this software is absolutely fantastic. It is transforming the lives of the children that use it. We've conducted some external research, objective research, which has proven that after just 26 hours of use, our IDL dyslexia software will bring about a 10 months improvement in reading age of the children and an 11 months improvement in spelling age. So that's a dramatic improvement. So we're very proud to be operating in that area too. And we've now added to our IDL dyslexia software program with another program that helps children with dyscalculia. children who struggle with numeracy. So this is ideal numeracy. And again, it's a wonderful product, and it is making a big difference to the lives of those children that use it. And this is provided to schools throughout the United Kingdom and also throughout Europe, and now throughout the United States. So it's a popular range of products, and we're proud of that activity. When we provide that software intervention to schools, we make a small administrative charge for that. But we also, in line with our charitable activity, we provide it completely free of charge to hospitals, to children's departments. And so we're providing that to Glasgow Children's Hospital, Alderhay, Leicester Children's Hospital, and so on. And we're very proud of that, basically. That's great activity. Some of the children in these hospitals have significant life-challenging conditions. But the good thing is that they are being helped with their literacy and numeracy. So that's a contribution that we can make. We're proud of that. So focusing in on today's conference then, what's it all about? What are the aims of today's conference? Well, most importantly, perhaps, we want to try and help to give you a better understanding of the key current developments in the sector, whatever the sector actually is these days, but the post-16 sector is what I'm referring to. Also to help us understand how Ascentis can help you with your planning. And then really, thirdly, just to try and give you a short break from your demanding jobs, because at Ascentis, we are very well aware just how demanding your jobs actually are. So it's nice to take a break from that, isn't it? If we just have a quick look at the issues, the complexity of the post-16 education sector at the moment, there's, as always, an awful lot going on, isn't there? There's the review of post-16 qualifications, something important to you and very important to us, actually, at Ascentis. There's lots of activity, as it should be, in terms of mental health, apprenticeships. There's the competition versus collaboration agenda. All issues to do with funding, which Bij will tell you more about later. Ofsted inspections, issues with the new T levels and in particular work placements, and a whole range of challenges really in relation to staff pay, staff recruitment and workload. So at Ascentis, again, we're very conscious of the demands that this complexity puts on the people who work within the post-16 sector. Actually, I'm directly aware of some of these issues because when I'm not wearing my Ascentis CEO hat, I'm wearing another hat as the vice chair of the board at a further education college in Lancashire. And so I am grappling with these issues in the same way that you are. So I have first-hand experience of some of these. I want to express my thanks, of course. I want to say a big thank you to all of our existing centres attending today who have selected us as their awarding organisation. I realise that's a privilege. There are many other awarding organisations out there. If you've selected us, well, I'm incredibly grateful for you for doing that. Thank you. To all of the other centres attending today who may wish to work with us in the future, my thanks to you also for joining us today. And really a big thank you to everyone for giving up their time to join us today, taking time out of their busy schedules. So thank you for attending today's conference. I hope you find it both useful and enjoyable. So enjoy it. Thank you.
Thanks very much then, Phil. Thank you for that introduction and welcome today. And hopefully you'll find that information that Phil shared with you interesting, particularly if you're not currently a centre that's using Ascentis. And obviously you've got some idea of the range of things that we offer. What I'm going to do now is we're going to take a short break. We'll be coming back just before 10:30 with the first substantive part of the agenda, which is myself looking at an update on the funding of skills, the implications of the budget and the spending review for FE and skills providers. So we'll be coming back just a few minutes before 10:30. Speak to you soon. Thank you.